Okay, so I thought I'd do a video for beginners, just like myself, starting out in the hobby. Maybe done it for a couple of months now, maybe a couple of weeks, or even like myself, a couple of years, on and off. It's a very simple one. It's from a regular piece of basswood that is 10 centimeters length, 25 millimeters wide. Just mark the centers across the top there on both sides, then down the side all the way top to bottom, just to make things easy. And then in the center you've got these marks, and here's the distances for the marks. You can see those. Got 15 millimeters and then 3 sets of 5. The total from top to bottom of this is going to be 50 millimeters, which is half of the block, okay? And we're going to make these. So, as I'm doing this, again, as a beginner, I can use a typical flex cut knife. I have given it a bit of a strop. It was sharp anyway, but it's always nice to start it and finish every project with a strop, just to make sure that you've done everything. I have had these now. I've got 2 of these. They came in a box set, a very small bladed one for the finer detail, and this sort of standard knife for a reasonable price. I'll put a link in that in the description below. Very good knife for a beginner to start out. You're not going to need much more than this. They are very sharp and they do last well, and fairly inexpensive. Back to these measurements. Go down the centre of each block, mark them out, and then put in those sets of 3 5 millimeters in there as you go down the block, okay? Then once you've got that sort of pattern, the top and bottom, extend it further to halve them again, so you got all those pieces that were quartered again, okay? So you'll have those 3 rows then running down the side of the block, okay? I've then drawn a little line to keep my centres a little easier as I go along. That'll come explanatory now in a minute or two, okay? So, get those lines down the centres. They don't have to be exact. This is no rocket science. It's just a guide. Okay, so what we're going to do with that line is cut up to the centre of the block. Okay. So again, from here, take the edges off first. You can put a stop cut in there. I missed the line out there. And if you sort of head for the corners here into each of these lines, each side here, you'll see then roughly where you're making what will be a corner into a rounded corner that's on the basswood block, okay? So I'll make it a little bit more obvious now in a second. So all you're doing is taking that piece of wood out and stick into this line that you've got here. So you want to try and make this square block rounder. And obviously what you're starting off with is being square. I'll start with 2 corners. If you feel the grain digging in and taking chunks out means you go in the wrong direction. And this quite often happens, so just to be aware of that as a beginner. If I tried slicing that up now, the grain itself would just dig in and come underneath there like it did a little bit at the top there. So once you get close, be really careful. Just, you can barely see that line on the side, and then you know then that you're pretty close to that corner. And the same goes for there. There we go. And then you can do the same again then. Try and take another shaving off here so you get closer to that centre line. Okay, if I show you from the top in a second, you'll get a better idea of what's going on there. Doesn't have to be perfect just yet. I'm just getting somewhere near it. So you can see there where it's starting to make more of a circle all the way around. You've taken enough off the edges to make it rounder. Okay, so keep going round now and do the same to the other side. The grain is going with me this time. So I'm just digging the knife in the bottom and then just keeping the blade flat as best I can, because this blade has a completely flat edge to it. Rest that blade on there, just run it up that line. Take the bottom bit off there. So again, the blade grain direction, is going with me. So I can just run the flatness of the blade all the way up there. And the bottom, take a slice or two out there. Now that I know I'm close there, I'll take it round a little bit. Until you've got all the block rounded off a little. Don't go worrying, as I said, about it being totally perfect or anything. Every piece is individually carved, is unique to its own. Again, there's no rocket science. It's all a bit of fun. Enjoy it. Otherwise you're going to lose interest in it quickly. A bit more off here. Next stage we got, where you got these pencil lines. Put your knife directly straight in and go right the way around the pencil lines. Make sure you're wearing your glove. Okay, I've pencil marked the top there, just inside the full width. So this will be the brim of the hat. So you need to go in just by a couple of millimeters there. I'll put a ruler in there for you guys to have a little look. It's literally only a few millimeters, yeah. So what I've done in the inside is just under the 20mm all the way around, which I think is 3/4 of an inch. Yep, about 3/4 of an inch from end to end. Okay, so just use the pencil if you wanted to again, and just go round the outside, just making that little bit of a circle that you've got. Okay, now this time we can actually dig in towards that cut that you've just made, going right round. If you make these cuts just small as you go, you find it very simple. Nothing to slip on. It's what we call a stop cut. You go in, cut down to it, go in, come down to it. Do that all the way around. Until that meets the other side. And you can work on that a little bit higher up, down to that stop cut you did, until you meet the other side. Okay, so now you've got the hat. It has tapered up a little bit. So all you need to do again now is do the same from about halfway mark. Just go around a little bit, taking a little slice out at a time. If you've got to go round twice, that's perfectly fine. Just take the slithers off bit by bit. It's better to go around twice than not take off too much wood than it is to try and make it go around the first time, take all the wood off, and then you've got no wood left on the piece that you're trying to make a shape of. So whenever you can do this, and going forward, leave the wood on the block. You can always take more off, but you can't put it back on unless you want to start going down the route of putting super glue on with slithers of wood that are not so good on the knife to cut. So there we go. It's getting a lot closer. Take my time, just sort of pace that you would be doing it as well, so you get it in real time sort of scenario here. Then if you wanted to still go in a little bit more to make that squarer to the edge, you can. There you go, so you can see from that where it's gone in a little bit. That will probably be enough, but again you could always come back and take more off later, so we'll just leave that then for now. So next we're going to do is go in here now and go round again, starting there and working up to that brim. you still got a mark there, and you still got your mark on here. So you just keep working to those marks. Time, go all the way around, be a little bit patient with yourself. Okay, so you've gone up to that hat there now. So I'm going to take another slice out just to narrow that out a little bit more, just to get that rounded effect where the body goes into the hat rather than the hat sitting on the body. Okay, I can still see the little line that I made where we've got the top of the glasses there. Okay, so I'm going to go in once more, just so you can see it on the camera. Then come down to that as a stop cut. This doesn't have to be very high or deep or anything. So you're just taking that off. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus in. Can you see that there? It is literally a millimetre or two deep, okay? Whoops, sorry. Just keep going all the way around. If you go around several times, just take off the highest parts. It will really become very much of a circle on the top there. Okay. Let's just focus in there. Try to focus it again for you. Sorry if the camera's wobbling a little bit. Some nickel there. So, next stage is going to be making all the lines down here. Yes, some of you that are already into carving are going to guess what's happened here. But you can do it. Just choose a line, it doesn't have to be straight. And then just go along each side of that line. Now then, that is going to take a bit more patience doing it. But you can do it. It's doable. I did it on another one of these, and it was quite effective. I haven't got a picture of that to show you, unfortunately, but it definitely can be done. My in shot there for you to see. Just take a line. You're making a V cut basically, coming down. Then go in then at the opposite angle, taking that little slither out each time. like that. You can then do one just a little bit shorter, maybe a little bit wider, and then the same down here, another short one, make it a nice wide cut, and then do a different shape then, coming down the back again, and so on until you're all finished. It doesn't take that long to go round, but for the purposes of the camera, introduce you to your second best friend, a V-tool. Again, from the same brand. I bought these as a box set right when I started. I've still got the same box set. It's still very sharp, and yes, it did cost a little bit of money. I'll put a link down below again, but you do have quite a few different cuts available to you here, like a nice round sweep one there, a nice deep little one there for doing eyes and things, and a flatter one, but it's not completely flat. And then you got the one that's got that V cut into the edges that not everybody uses, but they do come in handy when you want to get into a very small corner and you're not trying to get in with a knife and taking other chunks off each side. Okay. So with the V-tool, it does become now a lot easier. You just lightly use it, just make the marks going up and down. You can do some that will be straight from top to bottom, and then maybe you could do one that goes out to the side and then come back down the middle with two other little ones, just to give you that little pattern difference and not just lines all the way down. Yeah. Now at the top again, it's rounded in the shape there, so let's repeat that round again. And then make a straight one, and then maybe slide another one in there at a slight different angle, and again you get a slight different pattern. Is that catching you on camera again? I don't know, so I'm going to try and focus a few. Okay, focus camera back on the table until eventually you get all the way around. I'll do a few more cuts and then I'll come back to where we are, okay? So once you've gone all the way around, cleaning up any little slithers that are coming off. There we go. Not bad. So we got a bit of water for basically three colours. The black with a very small amount in here. Same with the yellow sort of colour, the yellow ochre they call it, and the raw umber in there, just to make that a little bit darker, to get somewhere in between but nearer to that. Okay, so we're going to make this one a very simple one to do, but if you did want to make it a little better in depth and colour, you could use the brown colour and go in the grooves first, just in some places. And that will create some depth in there. Okay, just a few places like that along the carving. all random. And that eventually, when it dries, then you can go back over it with another colour, and that will give it a little bit more depth in the colour, okay? But we're not doing that today. We're keeping it onto a beginner sort of thing. So, straight up start, get some water on that brush, and water this paint down a lot. Let's just cover it with the colour first. Yep, I'm not going to do anything fancy with it. So, is that done? Because we've got something to hold it by still, because we haven't cut it off the block, we can then start on the black as well. If you give it a light coat first, which is very watered down, it will sink in quite quickly to the block and seal it off a little. And then you can come back around them with a thicker coat, or coats, being plural, and make it a shinier product. There we go. Give it a second coat as well. It's quite warm in here today, so it's drying quite fast. These are just basic acrylic paints from a regular little shop. So we'll get these finished off. Give it just a little swipe first of all. Painting is not my favourite thing to do. You won't see me making many tutorials on painting things, guys. I can promise you that. If you like doing your painting, let me know below. Or would you rather just keep carving? there we have it, guys. On this occasion, we call it a day at that. There we go, all done. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to click like, comment, share my video if you can, and click that bell to get notifications as well. Okay, have a good day.